It's 4 o'clock on a Monday, and you know what that means, don't you? It's time for another exciting episode of Taxi TV Live. Ooh, my timing was a little off this week. Hello, everybody. Good to see you all. Let me double check and make sure I am actually streaming. Sometimes I forget to do that. There we go. Okay, all is good in TV land. So welcome to the big show for this week. Very glad that you could join me. Going to move the chat over here so I can see you a little better. Today, I'm doing this, we're doing a You're in the A&R Hot Seat episode because I was online a couple of weeks ago and like 2 or 3 different forums or Facebook groups, wherever I was, I saw people well, you know what? It started with one guy saying that he didn't like the way I moderated the show. Some guy, I've never been a Taxi member, but I do watch Taxi TV, and I just don't like that guy that hosts the show. But he said, but I do like when he does the A&R Hot Seat things because I learn a lot. And you guys have commented about that a lot. Oh, yeah, I see people, haters going to hate. Well, I didn't wear this shirt by intent today. It was just the closest thing to where my hand was when I reached into my closet. Yes, I hang my T-shirts. And I had it on with the shirt over it, and the only word you could see was hate, so I took that shirt off. Didn't want to make a bad first impression. Anyway, so we're doing A&R Hot Seat today, and we're going to do an instrumental listing, and we're going to do a country for film and TV listing. So should be a good show if I live through it. Anyway, also, I want to remind you, I'm in front of the Road Rally crowd. For those of you who don't know, and there will be people that watch this that don't know anything about Taxi's Road Rally, which is our annual conference. As you can see, that's the ballroom that holds about 1,000 people. It's going to be November 6th through the 9th in Los Angeles this year. People say it's the best conference of its kind for independent musicians who want to pitch their stuff to film and TV, to record labels, to publishers. You guys, rather than me going on and on about it, if you guys want to comment in the chat room so any new folks can see that I'm not hyping this. It's 3.5 days of 8 hours a day of panels in the ballroom that you're looking at right there. We also do here. I still have these up from last week's episode. 1-to-1 mentoring. Let's see what we have here. And really good people mentor. And like that gentleman right there has been a well-known, highly connected publisher in Nashville. He'll be there again this year. Also, that's Steve Block, old friend of mine from probably the mid-'90s, another publisher from Nashville. I mean, where else can you go to a free conference if you're a Taxi member and not pay $500 a ticket and sit down with people like that and have them listen to music and give you advice? Here we have a production music library owner hanging out, or a vice president, I believe, of one of the bigger libraries, hanging out with folks after his panel, taking questions, probably taking some music as well. Here we have Mr. Personality himself, Matt Vanderbo, hanging out with somebody that, I don't know why, but I'm so bad with names. Oh, geez. She's part of True Swans, but I can't remember her name. I'm so sorry. She's the nicest person. And I love this shot. This is the jam session that goes on at night. And I look at that dude's face. I love it. Yeah, you nailed it. Here's what the panels look like from the audience perspective in the ballroom. Here is Sponsor Row, where you can check out our awesome sponsors. And here's a glimpse of the ballroom from up on the stage looking out. Anyway, the Road Rally is a thing. People say it's life-changing. Other people back that up. Not only will you... people often say, I learned more in 3.5 days at the Taxi Road Rally than I've learned in the 30 years of my career leading up to that weekend. And I know it sounds like, oh, come on, how can that be? But this is what our members say, the people who go. You might be thinking, well, it's a plane flight. I don't want to fly from Ohio or New Jersey or Florida. You know what? If you really, really, really want to get your music out there, get it to record labels, publishers, film and TV, build an incredible network of like-minded people that are so unbelievably non-competitive, helpful, and engaging. When you arrive, you will not feel like a wallflower. I can guarantee you, literally, I can guarantee that by the time you make it through the line where you pick up your badge, you will have made friends that you'll probably end up spending the whole weekend with and could be friends for life. By the way, we had one gentleman, I don't know, maybe 8 years ago from Australia. A gentleman from Arizona, if I remember correctly, standing next to somebody in line. They started chatting. It turns out that one of the guys was a production music library owner from Australia that happened to be standing in the registration line rather than the industry line. The guy from Arizona ended up, I want to say, signing 106 pieces of music into that gentleman's catalog because of standing in line. So anyway, you got to come. The hotel, I'm doing this on the top of my head, about $150, $160 a night. When you get there, you go, wow, it's a lot of nice hotel for that kind of money. And you don't need to rent a car or drive anywhere in LA, because we do it at the Westin LAX on Century Boulevard, just outside of LAX Airport, and you can take a free shuttle there. We've been doing this now. This will be our 29th year of doing the Taxi Road Rally, and people just swoon over it. They have the best time. They learn so much, and almost half of the deals that result in placements on film and TV stuff for taxi members happen as a result of people going to the road rally, getting the right one-to-one mentor like that right there, and it's life-changing. It's people go, well, yeah, it's like a little tight on money. I don't know if I can take that extra day and a half off of work. How bad do you really want to be in the music business? Because this is the place that you can actually pole vault over any hurdles you've had getting in the music business. And remember, it's free. Every taxi member gets a free ticket for him or herself and a guest. Could be a spouse, could be a bandmate, co-writer, co-composer, whatever. You can't get a conference at any level for free, let alone at this level. So check it out, because if you don't come, we don't make a penny less if you don't come. So I'm not trying to talk you into coming so we make more money, because we literally don't make money. All right, now back to my control room at beautiful Criteria Studios in Miami. Okie doke, chat room, I've got you back open. $179 a night. Well, welcome to inflation. Yes, and you won't be able to beat that price. We actually get it when we book our block for you guys. We make it such that you can't get a cheaper price by going to Orbitz or Expedia or anything like that. So there you go. You got the best possible deal you can get. Okay. Let's move on. So today, once again, we are doing You're in the A&R Hot Seat, and here's how it goes for people who are new. We actually play music. I'm going to read you a taxi listing. We're going to play you some music that was submitted for those listings, and then you're going to judge if you were the A&R person at Taxi. Would you forward that based on what you heard in the brief, or would you not? And frankly, I didn't realize how much value people are getting from this, that they say, it's so much easier to be objective about somebody else's music and judge that. And then I go, oh, now I see why the screener did or did not forward my music. So there you go. In Hawaii, it's $500 a night, so that's a deal. I know, it really is, and it's a very nice hotel, and they just refreshed it or remodeled it or whatever you call it. And good news, everybody, I was there last week for a meeting. The escalators are working, which they weren't last year. It was a little bit of a pain in the butt. Let me set my air conditioner to ice cold now because these studio lights are killing me. And they're actually all LED, so they're not hot at all, but it does get toasty in here. So would you guys, let's take a quick vote. Would you guys prefer to start out with instrumental, listening to instrumental music and judging that, or country songs for sync? Escalators can never break. They only become stairs. There you go. Well, Pat, that hotel is for a resort. It's not a hotel built for conventions and stuff so much. Instrumentals coming up a lot. Whatever tips my trigger. Oh, well. All right. Most of you guys are saying instrumentals. So that's what we're going to start with. Okay. So let me read the listing. This was an interesting listing. I liked it a lot. This was for taxi listing number S250804RV, recreational vehicle. Why it had that suffix, I do not know. And because people always ask, we had 294 submissions, which is pretty healthy for this one. 50 of those were forwarded. Okay, so almost 1 out of 6, whatever that is. Let's see, lots of investigative. Is it investigative or investigative? I'm going with investigative today. Lots of investigative crime instrumentals are needed by an exclusive music library started by some highly successful industry veterans. Just so you know, when you see that, this is hype. These guys are actually, like, they were super successful, built one of the better known libraries, took a break from the industry, probably a non-compete clause or something, and then came back and are building a new one. And they are using Taxi to populate that catalog. So, also worthy to note, which is mentioned here in the listing, this company pays an upfront fee. So they do a buyout, so you get some money up front. This company would be thrilled to find instrumentals that could be heard on a playlist with the following references. I can't even read what that one was. 3.35 Vengeance. I don't know, it's a weird link. A song by Matt Quayle. Wow, talk about bad bad titling. I'm reading this exactly as it is. 3.3 space 5 hyphen vengeance P4CT dot SIB dash 16374. So that's a great example of a way to not, in my opinion, title your music, because it doesn't tell you anything. This is for listing S250804RV. Somebody's asking again. All right. Investigation, Detroit Become Human was another reference, and the Little Things trailer was another reference. Please submit tension building and suspenseful instrumentals. I'm going to highlight those things. Where's my highlighter? Tension building and suspenseful instrumentals that feel right at home in true crime documentaries or investigative news segments. Your submission should have suspense building motifs, so we've seen suspense in there twice. Engaging rhythms, solid musicianship, well-crafted arrangements that crank up the tension. Your pieces should feature instrumentations commonly associated with the crime and investigation genre, such as synth pads, electric piano, plucked strings, muted piano, orchestral elements, and electronic percussion. Subtle use of sound design elements like ticking clocks, low drones, reverse textures, or risers can also help to add some extra suspense where appropriate, but you'd be smart to avoid overdoing it. Yeah. Shouldn't overdo anything typically. The pacing of your pieces should feel deliberate and investigative, and not overly dramatic or cinematic. Interesting. Keep the focus on tension. Boy, that word keeps popping up, doesn't it? And mood here. If you're using virtual instruments or samples, they must be high quality and convincingly realistic. Original compositions only. Submissions should be about 90 seconds to 3 minutes long, give or take. Non-faded button or stinger endings will work best for this pitch. Do not copy the reference music in any way, shape, or form. Use it only as a general guide for tempo, texture, and overall vibe. Broadcast quality is needed. No AI accepted. Blah, 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 blah. You do, even though they buy out the copyright and the masters, you do keep the writer's share. So if they make a buck for their half of the publishing, you make a buck as well, and you got paid up front. I don't know exactly what this company pays up front, but typically libraries nowadays that do this pay $200 to $500 not very frequently. But, and what that means is that you give up, if they license it for a couple $1,000s for something, get a sync fee. You don't get half the sync fee, but you did get the $500 or $250 or $300, whatever it was up front. A lot of people like that because, as we all know, you could have 1,000 pieces out there in 20 different libraries, and not every one of them is ever going to get placed. As a matter of fact, many of them won't, but some of them will get placed many, many times, and it all equals out. Throwing that out there for the new kids on the block. Anyway, all right, so once again, tension-building, suspenseful instrumentals feel right at home in true crime documentaries or investigative news segments. Suspense-building motifs, engaging rhythms, solid musicianship, well-crafted arrangements that crank up the tension. Your pieces should feature instrumentation commonly associated with the crime and investigation genre. Here we go. Let's listen. The first one we're going to hear is called Lost. Oops, I cut a little early. Sorry. Wow. All right. I am just not in the groove today. You'll have to forgive me. All right. I'm looking. I feel bored. Cast your votes, because we do that for those of you who are new. If you think it's a forward, type the letter F. If you think it's a return, type the letter R. And I am curious to see if you guys vote with the screener. I almost feel like I'm surprised, frankly, at some of the stuff I'm seeing coming up. All right, I don't think we need to have Liz tally this one because it's pretty obvious. The majority of you said you would have returned it. A few of you, like three or four of you, said you would forward it. And I'm kind of curious. It wasn't a bad piece of music, it just wasn't a fit for what the company had asked for. Here's what the screener said. I like the rhythm of this cue, which is under the category of what I like most about it. I think you could improve this by have some neat ideas and not work for this listing as it's off target, which is very important, as you know. Greatest piece of music in the world doesn't get forwarded if it doesn't fit what they asked for. It's like ordering steak and getting salmon, right? It's off target, even if the salmon was great. It's off target in terms of the mood and the style. Additionally, it needs a stronger developmental arc. Right now, it feels repetitive. Obvious that the screener was correct in that because many of you mentioned that. I returned or forwarded this because the track is not a match in terms of mood and style for this request. Listing notwithstanding, it's also too repetitive and needs a stronger developmental arc. Well, there you go. So most of you nailed that one, and you agreed with the screener. So your screener chops are mighty, mighty good. All right, here's another one called High Tide. Let's see if you would forward or return this one. All right, that was called High Tide. I'm not giving out the names of the people who created these pieces of music just because if they didn't get forward, I don't want to embarrass anybody, but we do appreciate the fact that they had it marked as public. We don't use anything that was marked as private on their account. So there you go. Cast your votes. F for a forward, R for return. I will read a little bit of that listing again. Well, we're casting our votes. Lots of investigative crime, tension instrumentals needed by an exclusive music library started by some highly successful industry veterans. Company pays an upfront fee. So they do a buyout, but you keep the writer's share. Please submit tension building and suspenseful instrumentals feel right home in true crime documentaries or investigative news segments. Suspense building motifs, engaging rhythm, solid musicianship, well-crafted arrangements that crank up the tension. Instrumentation commonly associated with crime and investigation genre: synth pads, electric piano, plucked strings, muted piano, orchestral elements, electronic percussion, subtle use of sound design without overdoing it. Keep the focus on tension and mood. Again, not bad, right? I mean, not bad piece of music. It sounds like if Journey was doing instrumental cues, that might be it. Several of you said were very 80s sounding. Keith LeBrant in the house. Did a great job last week. Welcome back, sir. Should be okay. So, and Keith will be at this year's Road Rally. Last time we checked, which was a while ago, like a year or two ago, over 105,000 placements on 171 shows, just ridiculously good numbers. And Keith will actually be there and probably do one-to-one mentoring this year. So if you want to get some feedback from a guy at that level, there you go. 9 people said they'd forward it. Only 20 people said they would return it, which is odd because we've got a lot more people watching the show than 29 of you. So get off your tushies and vote, you guys. Would appreciate that. It was, in fact, returned. And let's see what the screener said. Where did I go? I lost my little place here. You know, some days you wake up and you're really on your game. Not today for me. Where the heck is it? There we go. Okay, this one was called High Tide. Screener said, what I like most about this is has some neat 80s soundtrack vibes. Yeah, it sounds like almost like an action sequence from an 80s movie. I think you could improve this by track has an interesting vintage sound and vibe, but it's off target for this listing. Again, for those of you who don't know much about Taxi and have never watched one of these episodes before, this is an industry that works entirely off of, does your song or instrumental go with my scene? They don't care if it's the greatest piece of music in the world. If it doesn't work in the scene to amplify the mood or the tension, if it doesn't amplify the action, if it doesn't make a depressing scene more depressing and sad, they can't use it. So doesn't matter how great it is. Obviously, it's got to be above a certain level, but it's equally as important to nail the mood. Interesting vintage sound and vibe, but it's off listing for this target. The genre, instrumentation, mood, and style are not a match for what's being requested. Pretty obvious. I'd suggest listening to the references to gain a better understanding of what the publisher is looking for. So, so frustrating for the screeners. 80% of the time that we don't forward music, it's because it didn't match what the company is asking for. We give the most robust description and briefs of anybody in the industry. I'd venture to say we've been told that from a lot of people we know in the industry. And we give references that oftentimes came from the company running the listing. At least we got one and then added a couple more. Sometimes they give us all three. So you've got all this stuff to guide you into creating and or submitting the right piece of music. And people blow it because, I've got this thing, it might work, it's really cool. I'm sure they'll love it when they hear it. Okay, that's that. Now let's listen to another one from that batch. This one is called No Footprints Left. Good title, by the way, for an investigative cue, right? Means a lot. If you're an editor and you're searching, going down a long list and you want to listen to stuff, but not every single thing on a list of 400 cues, go to the one with the title. It tells you what it's going to sound like. Bringing up the level a little. I should have told you guys, don't cast your votes now. You may influence other voters. That was cool. Hold on. There's that applause. If I wasn't afraid of messing up my green screen, I would show you guys what a morass of junk on my desk, right? It's all necessary to put on a quality broadcast like this, but there's a lot of stuff in front of me. It's a little cluttery today. Anyway, you're casting your votes. I like the fact that you guys are self-starters. Yay. That was relatively, well, actually, believe it or not, that was 1:43. But you know what? It had a developmental arc. It kept you interested, even though it was pretty simple and not complex. And that's a good thing for a cue. That again was called No Footprints Left. Great title. All right. Waiting for the big reveal here. That looks dorky. Did we have any returns in there? I don't think one person said they'd return it. You know what? Liz, if you haven't already, maybe you've already totaled it up, but don't even bother because everybody voted as forward. 32 forward, 0 returns. There you go. Okay, so the screener forwarded it as well, so all of you can be taxi screeners. Good job. Let's see what the screener said. Which one was this one? There we go. No footprints. What I like most about it are the intriguing synth patches. I think you can improve this song by, this is a neat track. That I think you could improve. That's a category on the taxi feedback. It's a neat track with interesting individual sections and high quality sound selections. One thing I would have liked to have heard more of would be percussion elements, but there is enough movement created in this track to keep it interesting. Despite that, overall, this works. This is a solid cue. Nice work. And it got a forward. So there you go. It's so obvious. It fit the brief, and it's really good. Duh. Okay, let's listen to another one. Oops, wrong computer. I've got two computers going here today. This one is called Moment of Truth. That's me turning up the level. All right, cast your votes. F for a forward, R for return. I'm going to go grab a cough drop. I'll be right back while you're casting your votes. I think it was Edmund. Is it okay to recognize presets? Yeah, sure, why not? I don't think it helps the mission, but sure, if you go, oh, I use that preset all the time, that's cool. Okay, cough drop in my mouth. If you hear cough droppy sounds, you will know why. I don't think you need to tabulate this one, Liz, unless you just want to. Marvin Gravel, this song was effing good. It's true. It's so obvious. You know, I mean, sometimes the screeners get stuff where it's like, wow, there's a lot that's right with this, but there are a couple things that I know if we sent it to a library, they'd go, probably wouldn't have sent that one. Sometimes it could be everything else is right, but there's one just really obviously bad sample or something. Greg Trammell, excellent for instructing us rookies how to do this type of cue. Yep. Yeah, it is. That's why we do these shows. See, Taxi's not just about access. It's about the education to help you get over the hump when you've got the access, which you do. Okay, I have not been checking off what I've been playing, which is a bad move. So that one was No Footprints Left. I've done Moment of Truth already. That was Moment of Truth. Okay. And I've done that. Okay. Now, Jane Greer says, it's brilliant. I agree. It's really good. Any library would be happy to sign that. Okay, moving on. Let's listen to one. and I'm not picking on this person, but you guys know how much I stress titling your stuff well. Um, I mean, this you want to use titles that tell an editor who's burnt out late at night working on a show, they're in charge of picking the music, and then they get final approval from the executive producer of the show. Why make it hard for them? Like making a investigative tension cue, titling it something like Sophie's Song or Nighty Night or Roses in the Garden. I mean, all irrelevant. Doesn't tell you what the music is going to sound like. But uncovering the facts or No Footprints Left, those sound like cues that would be very appropriate for investigative tension, right? So this one is called Suspense Cue version 2. Now, the fact that it's called Suspense Cue makes it pretty obvious what it is. Version 2, any professional in the industry would look at that and go, this person is clearly not an experienced composer. They probably don't have any stuff in libraries. They probably don't understand the terms and conditions of the contracts or how the industry works. All that can be read into the fact that this person chose a bad title. So titles are important. If you're not up to speed on titles, go find the Taxi TV episode that is all about titles that I just did a month or so ago, a couple months ago, relatively recently, okay? All right, this one is called Suspense Cue VS2, which I'm assuming means version. Are the levels okay? Very low levels on this. I brought it up, but it looks still low. That's weird. All right, cast your vote. F for a forward, R for return. Dominic can't get over the last one. Aw, you're in love with an instrumental cue. Dominic. Peter Gunn. Well, now I know how old you are because I'm that old too. I used to love that show. It is a little Peter Gunn-ish. I'll give you that. Not enough upright bass for Peter Gunn. Peter Rahill being very funny today says Rick Derringer is a little gunnish. Yeah, he put out his first song and shot right to the top of the charts with a bullet. Woo. All right. 6 forwards, 43 returns. Those of you who forwarded it are correct. And there were some good elements, but you know what? The industry isn't looking for, if I listen all the way through, maybe I can find some good elements to use. They're looking for material that has been curated or filtered before they got their hands on it by somebody who's an expert, meaning the taxi screener, saying, this is really good. It should go in your library, your production music library. Ultimately, someday you're going to have a client that's going to be looking for this kind of thing, and this would be a good solution for their problem of what kind of music can I use in this scene that fits this mood. So yes, no, it was not forward. It was a return. Sorry, did I say it was forward? Sorry. I guess the cough drops are kicking in now. Anyway, yeah, it was a return. And the screener says, this was interesting, but it's off target for this listing. It has suspense elements, but it doesn't line up with the references in terms of the genre, the mood, or the style. Additionally, the section transitions are abrupt in some places, so I would rework the arrangement to offer more continuity and consistency of ideas even when offering changes. At some point, I thought I heard a modulation, but it was this weird, glitchy jump that the modulation happened with, and there was other weird stuff going on. So I think it may have been a brain fart on the part of the disco server or something, maybe. Marion Laird said, yeah, I misspoke like the judge said who just said someone is guilty and forgot the not. Yeah, good thing it wasn't like a death sentence kind of trial. Am I doing songs? Yes, Ken, we are going to do songs momentarily. We're doing country songs for film and TV. All right, one more of these guys, which will be played momentarily, and it is called Uncovering the Facts. Great title, right? Investigative crime scene tension, uncovering the facts. You know approximately what you're going to hear before you hear it. All right, cast your votes, please. Give me an F for a forward, an R for a return, and let me go look up what the screener said. Yo, Dean Turner. Here we go. Yeah, I wish I could play the references when I do these episodes, but very time consuming to do that, and it's also copyright issues. Okay, 27 forwards and 4 returns. So, those of you who said it was a forward, you are correct. And so am I on this one. I got it right. Yes, it was a forward. And the screeners actually prefer to forward stuff because they don't have to think too hard and come up with valuable feedback. They can just simply say something like this screener did. The arrangement is methodical and suspenseful, supporting a narrative of investigation or discovery without becoming overly dramatic. Could improve it by no changes needed. Forwarded it because sounds great for this particular listing. So there you go. Yeah, Juno, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Boy, oh boy, I preach that all the time, but that's a whole other show. Just because a library loves you, don't get carried away with that and give them everything you got, because different libraries have different kinds of clients, and even though they may love your music, they may not have a client knock on their door looking for that type of thing for many years or ever. So they could be a stand-up library, great people, great business, great everything about it, but sometimes they get a little carried away and say, I want to hear everything you've got, and they sign stuff that maybe they shouldn't, and they don't do it out of malice, but they think, well, someday maybe somebody will hit me up for that and I'll have it. But if that same piece of music was in another library that has a lot of clients that use that kind of stuff, maybe it would get licensed faster or more frequently. So there's today's little business lesson. All right, we are going to move on to country stuff. All right? And I'm going to chew my cough drop so I can get it out of my mouth. Sorry. All right. Here we go. Pay attention, please. We are now going to hear the listing. This is for original... by the way, this is listing number S250810UR. S250810UR. Wow, another one. Got a lot of submissions. 368 submissions. That's a pretty beefy one. Of the 368, 26 were forwards. So this is asking for original country songs in a wide range of styles with male or female vocals are needed by a top-tier exclusive music licensing company with a long, proven track record of securing awesome film and TV placements for Taxi's members. They're hunting for songs in the general stylistic ballpark of the following references: Overdrive by Thomas Rhett, A Bar Song, Tipsy by Shabuzi, Austin, Boots Don't Stop Working by Dasha. Turtles All the Way Down by Sturgill Simpson. I Remember Everything by Zach Bryan featuring Casey Musgraves. Tennessee Whiskey by Chris Stapleton. I love him. Sleeping on the Blacktop by Colter Wall. Note, the company is open to a wide range of country styles, including traditional country, top 40 country, bluegrass-infused Americana, or more crossover approaches, including references or influences, from pop, rock, hip-hop, etc. Don't feel too confined by the references here, as any songs with a country vibe should be a fit for this request. Could be. Not should be, could be. My mistake. Please submit original country songs in a wide range of styles that feature engaging melodies, emotionally resonant lyrics, strong vocal performances, and authentic country feel. This company is open to everything from story-driven traditional country. That's a really important statement. I am underlining that. Story-driven original or traditional country. Going to go back and talk about that in a moment. And contemporary country to rootsy Americana and crossover-friendly tracks that blend influences from pop, rock, hip-hop, and beyond. Instrumentation can vary based on your chosen direction, but if you're using virtual instruments or samples, make sure they're high-quality, modern-sounding, and true to the genre. Male or female vocals should be expressive, bold, and full of emotion that makes country music so impactful. Original songs only. The rest is pretty boilerplate. Broadcast quality is needed, of course. No AI created stuff. Okay, so I'm going to go back quickly to talk about the story-driven traditional country. So we actually have different screeners for country at Taxi. For music that's being screened for country artists on major labels that often almost exclusively goes to our contacts on Music Row in Nashville, gets screened by people who are publishers in Nashville. So on some occasions, the actual publisher will say, you know what, I want to sink my teeth in that, and we've trained them as a Taxi screener, and they do it. Other times they may take the person who is like the set of ears. Everybody in Nashville, everybody in the industry probably has one of these. That person who you've developed a working relationship with that gets your taste, knows what you would like, what you would forward or return if you were in that publisher seat, what the clients like, blah, blah, blah. So sometimes the publishers will ask their right arm to screen the stuff for them. So you guys are getting the benefit of having real people who are working every day of the year, except for Christmas, Easter, and other national holidays, on music on the row. But in Nashville, they like what they call furniture or visual details. And so because of that, it doesn't work in film and TV very well. I walked into the Smoky Bar, peanut shells getting crushed underneath my work boots, smoky room, saw her blue eyes from across the dance floor, and her red cowboy boots with the gold stars on them. Unless your scene has some or most or all that stuff in it, can't use it. Too much detail, right? So for a country song, for a country artist, they want that detail. They want to bring you into the story, into the picture, into that moment in time. For country music, for film and TV, we use different screeners that understand where that's a collision. That's not a good thing. And the screeners that screen country for us here, mostly in LA, are screeners that know that. And you might submit a great country song that's got too much visual detail, and they say, God, it's a great song, killer song, excellent song, but I can't forward it because all that stuff's going to get in the way of what the script says the scene is doing or the actor's monologue or dialogue. In this case, it's pretty unusual that they're open to everything from story-driven traditional country. So they actually said, that's okay. Sometimes that works in film and TV because it could be something that's getting played in what they call source music, background source music, meaning it's coming from a source like a jukebox or a car radio or speakers in the ceiling at your local grocery store. And sometimes the music is so low that even the person who wrote it, sang it, recorded it, produced it, and got it in that TV show was like straining. Is that my song they're playing over the speakers in that grocery store? Yes. So there you go. Little education thrown into today's episode. Okay, now let me fire. Oh no, I got to go back here. Okay, let's have a listen, and you guys tell me, would you forward this or would you return it? And this one is called Dead Yet. Screeners don't get the scripts.
My beliefs with each new weekly trend. Change the way I think I am. Make it us and them. Time to cut the ties with news and lies. Stick to what I know is wrong and right. What made me is what I believe, and it's here till the day I'm gone. Cause I'll be dead when I stop thinking love don't mean a thing. Laid to rest if I stop believing this land came for free. I'll be good and gone to kingdom come when hard work don't mean sweat. I was born to stand my ground till my gravestone is set, and I ain't dead yet. You stand and preach about some things, Lord, where do I begin? Holy water on your tongue, chased by whiskey sin. Maybe close your mouth and open that heart with a little more light and a little less heart. Cause what you say is what you believe, and it ain't for me no more. Cause I'll be dead if I stop thinking love don't mean a thing. Laid to rest when I stop believing this land came for free. And I'll be good and gone to kingdom come when hard work don't mean sweat. I was born to stand my ground till my gravestone is set, and I ain't dead yet. Sit back, relax, tell you what we're gonna do. Stand up, stand tall. You are that one. Live with some heart, speak with some truth. We gotta get back to our roots. What I believe is cause I'll be dead if I stop thinking love don't mean a thing. Laid to rest when I start believing this land came for free. Be good and gone to kingdom come when hard work don't mean sweat. I was born to stand my ground till my gravestone is set. Never will back down till these bones are laid to rest. And I ain't dead yet. No, I ain't dead yet. No, I ain't dead yet.
All right, cast your votes. F for forward, R for return. I'm going back to something that was said in the chat by E. Ashak. E. The listing contradicts itself. You want bars and boots, yet that genre of country won't cross over. I don't really understand what you mean won't cross over. But no, this listing actually made a point of saying we're not so concerned about details in the lyrics. They're just looking for a broad range of country that could be used in all kinds of places. So if I understood your question, I hope I answered it. Well, you guys like that one. Woohoo! Crosses over to top 40. I still don't understand the context you're saying. They're saying that it could be pure country, it could be pop country, it could be country rock. I don't get it. You'd have to give me a little more information. Right. This is about film and TV, not is it a hit record. Just so you know, there's a big difference. People don't understand that. The people who've been in the industry for a while are still stuck in this like 1960s mindset of all I need is a great song. No, in film and TV, you need the right song, not a great song. It's still got to be really good, but they will actually put a B-level song in a scene that's got the right texture, the right vibe, the right lyric, the right mood that somehow enhances that scene and makes it better than taking a song that's an A triple plus, knocked it out of the park, sounds like it's going to be a smash hit record. They can't use it if it's not the right mood or vibe or texture or any of that stuff for the scene. Again, it's like going into a restaurant and saying, I will take the ribeye medium rare, and your mouth is watering, and they bring out a slab of salmon. And you go, but I ordered the steak. And they say, yeah, but it's unbelievably good salmon. Our salmon is the best in the city. Doesn't matter. I don't like fish. I want steak. So give me my steak. All right, 36 forwards, 1 return. Well, those of you who voted for a forward are honorary taxi A&R staff members today. Yay, good job, you guys. Cut them right off there. All right, that was a fun one to open with. Cross that off my list so I can stay organized, because it takes a certain amount of organization to do this. All right, next one we're going to hear, get my list together, is called Romance. Here we go. That's, sorry, stopping that for a second. Clearly the disco server is having a little bit of brain farting going on today, because the same thing happened in one of the other tracks, happened in this one, where it like glitched out and actually modulated an inappropriate everything. So here we go, one more time. This is Romance.
To to make a romance like an arrow flying through the cold air in hot pursuit. I take my love, I stab it in to your heart, will bleed again as one forevermore. I'll put the bone back in my soul and to the ends of this earth I'll follow you, my baby, and forevermore. I'll regret that night if I could take it back, 'cause every day that I let slip away I realize gotta change my ways. If I don't, might just miss a one last chance to make a romance, my one last chance to make a romance, to make a romance, make a romance, my one last chance to make a romance, to make a romance, one last chance. Whatever happened to chivalry? Forevermore, forevermore, you put the point back in my soul.
All right, cast your votes. F for a forward, R for a return. Lamar, how are you, dude? Andre. William Gallegos. Jim Stamper. I love hanging out with you guys. Good to see you. I can't wait to see you at the Road Rally November 6th through the 9th in Los Angeles. Taxi's free conference, world-class music conference, where you can learn about film and TV. You can learn about pitching your stuff to labels. You can learn about engineering, producing, legal issues. We'll probably have some AI stuff again this year. Had to leave my watch so I don't vote. Very confusing, Martin Gravel. I have no idea what the hell you're talking about there. Marion says, we love hanging out with you too. I'm still waiting to hear whether the job is going to let me have taxi week off. Well, you only have to miss Thursday and Friday, right? You could fly out Thursday morning, get to LA. I mean, you could leave midday and get there midday and still be fine. Does he have something else to send in to try? I don't know. 29 returns, 1 forward. You guys were very much in agreement, and it wasn't a forward, you know, and it's funny because it was very raw. The screener actually said, a more polished and finished presentation is needed for this listing. This is feeling more like a demo/work tape than finished product, but I appreciate the sincerity. Yep. Somewhere, someday, this could get used in something. But a library probably wouldn't sign it because it does sound pretty demo-y, pretty rough, pretty lo-fi, but it has, sometimes, you know, singers who aren't great technically end up becoming great in the context of a particular song because they know, they wrote it, so they feel the emotion as they're singing it. It comes across as being very authentic. I think this gentleman has captured that for this. It just wasn't right for this listing. And it wouldn't be right for a lot of libraries, but it certainly was not a bad song, and it certainly does have a lot of authenticity to it. So hopefully someday, excuse me, someday it will find a home somewhere, because I think a lot of us liked that authenticity. Okay, next up we are going to listen to a song called Cold Start.
Old thing broke down, just as it does. It might have had its time now.
That's disco.
But it can't watch it collect dust. Maybe better off thrown out, but they don't make them like this no more. Maybe it needs a little love, and I just have enough. It's been through some dirt, oh man, this thing could work though. But one thing could just throw you off. As we turn the keys, you gain more trust in me. And the last thing before we take off, said you can't cold start my heart. So just let it run. Maybe it's got a little rust, but I know it's something I can deal with. Learn from my mistakes so I'll be different. That love's gone, I don't know who I am. Cause when the light turns off my heart, farewells. I ain't scared, I'm afraid of myself. What I do when I lose, the one thing I turn to is never what I choose. Cause I know it's been through some dirt, oh man, this thing could work though. The one thing could just throw you off. As we turn the keys, you gain more trust in me. Yeah. The last thing before we take off, said you can't cold start my heart. So just let it run. You can't make it no thing run like it's new. At some point that one thing turn into, well, I know what's wrong here, it ain't just a few loose screws. But if anybody can make it through, it's me and you. I know it's been through some dirt, but this thing could work. And one thing could just throw you off. Just throw you off. As we turn the keys, you gain more trust in me. The last thing before we take off. No, the last thing before we take off. You can't cold start my heart. Yeah. So just let it run.
All right, that one again was called Cold Start. Please cast your votes. F for a forward, R for a return. Yeah, I love that gentleman's voice. I like the recording technique on the vocal. The fact that at one point they cut out the reverb and brought him closer in. A lot of good little elements going on there. Jesse J. Peck, so nice to see you back again. Where were you, dude? Every time I see some of you guys like Jesse, the regulars during the quarantini happy hours, it reminds me of how much I like those days hanging out with you guys. And speaking of which, I heard that in certain countries around the world that COVID is actually kicking up again, although I don't think anybody's nearly as scared of it as we were back then. 30 forwards and 1 return. So you guys who forwarded that one were correct. The screener said, I really like the vibe here and your voice. I think you could improve this song by settling into the groove rather than having so many stops, and the second verse is a thought. Interesting. Not a bad observation. Forwarded the song, so there you go. Okay. Let's listen to one called Just a Few Seconds.
She said, come and sit down, I got something to say. I thought it was about the kids or some bills we had to pay. She said, I'm sorry, 'cause I know this is gonna hurt, but I've met someone else and I'm leaving tonight. Just a few seconds after all those years, I tried to reason through all my tears. She walked away and gave me one last look. Just a few seconds, just a few seconds, that's all it took. Haven't I been a good man as a husband to a wife? She said that's not enough now, I wanna start a new life. When I look into his eyes, I see my destiny. I didn't plan this, but it's where I wanna be. Just a few seconds after all those years, I tried to reason through all my tears. She walked away and gave me one last look. Just a few seconds, just a few seconds, that's all it took. How can this be happening to a man like me? I've given everything I have to our home and family. Just a few seconds after all those years, I tried to reason through all my tears. She walked away and gave me one last look. Just a few seconds, just a few seconds, Just a few seconds, that's all it took. That's all it took. That's all it took.
All right, cast your votes. F for a forward, R for a return. I'm curious to see where you guys land on this one. Ray Hill says R on a hunch. Zen Chief Engineer, I like it. Would have been better served with a better mix. As a retired engineer, myself, and producer and mixer, all that stuff, I really like some of the sounds. But I agree with you about the mix. It was definitely, but loved the guitar sounds. I like the fact that the vocal was very upfront, very close to the mic, and the B3 part paid respect to the octave that the vocal was in and the texture with which it was sung and the intimacy of it. And the B3 was played in a higher octave so that it didn't fight with the vocal, because those B3s can do that. The mix begins with the arrangement. Yes, yes, yes. I could not agree more. 20 returns and 19 forwards. I knew you guys were this was gonna be a split decision. The screener returned this one. The screener liked the somber mood, which I think we all did. Strengthening the melodies and the lyric is a thought here. I like the way the screener puts that. Is a thought here. Definitely a Californian there. Trying to show rather than tell the story is a bit more. Trying to show rather than tell the story a bit more is a thought. Personally, I'm going to ask our head A&R person to let me know which screener that is, because that screener could have been more descriptive there. It really didn't give me enough information. I'm the owner of the company, and I represent your best interests. So I want to know. Going to have to talk to that screener and say, elaborate. Melody and lyric could be a bit stronger. It's true. The melody and the lyric, overall, it was not bad. And the mood actually carried it. The authenticity. And you could kind of hear the pain in the vocal, what she did to him. But in the end, it was a good start, a good beginning, but it didn't run it all the way into the end zone. Okay, let me find my highlighter. Where'd you go? So I can make a big green circle around that one and talk to that screener. Okay, one more. This one, we didn't do one called We Should Have Known Better, right? I don't believe. Here we go. We're right up against the clock here, so I should put this one on 2x speed. I won't. We should have known better.
I saw the signs, the warning in your eyes, but I pushed it down and buried it inside. You twist your words, then act like it was fine, but I knew they were all lies. But I kept on thinking it would change this time, hoping love could heal the wounds we hide. I knew the end before it even came, but I kept running back, caught in the same damn game. If I'd have known better than to fall for a girl like you, I've been down this road. If I'd have known better, I would have walked away the first time I saw your face. If I'd have known better, I would have listened to all my friends and just walked away. But I always knew better, and my past mistakes don't make me who I used to be. Past mistakes, they don't make us who we used to be. We live and we learn and keep going on until nothing hurts, baby, are we too far gone? If we both let go of the hurt and the pride, it won't be easy, but maybe if we're honest and we face the truth, no more running away. Baby, can we find our ways back to them better days? If you'd have known better than to fall for a guy like me, you've been down this road. If you'd have known better, you would have walked away the first time you laid eyes on me. Baby, I know this heart that I'm breaking into, but it keeps wanting more, that's what I do to you. And if you'd have known better, you would have listened to all my friends and just walked away. But maybe we knew better. Past mistakes anyway. They wanna find who we wanna be. We can be who we wanna be now. If you'd have known better than to fall for a guy like me, you've been down this road. And if I'd have known better, I would have walked away the first time I saw your face. Maybe we can last forever and put down our walls and make it just one more night. But maybe we knew better, and the past mistakes don't make us who we wanna be. We don't wanna be, we always knew better.
All right. Cast your votes, my peoples. Give me an F for a forward. Give me an R for return. All right. Let's see. How we doing? I like mostly forwards in this one. The country purists definitely won't like it. Yeah, but it wasn't looking for pure country. It was looking for a wide range of stuff. And it even said, I'm not going to go back and read it because I don't have that much time, but here I go anyway. I give up. Anyway, yeah, was looking for all kinds of country. 30 forwards, no returns. You guys nailed it. Congratulations, you all get a free ticket to the Road Rally, November 6th through 9th, Taxi's world-class music conference that people have been loving for the last 28 years. It is known worldwide. Just so you know, we get people that fly here all the way from like Asia. Literally, we've had people from China, Japan, the Philippines, South America, several Europeans, lots of Australians, lots of Canadians, If you really, really, really want to have some or a lot of success in the music industry, you need to come to the Taxi Road Rally. There you go. Juno came from Scotland. Was it worth the trip, Juno? That had to be a $1,500 plane ticket. And let's see, from Scotland, probably about 12 or 13 hours in the air. I've always wanted to go to Scotland, but I used to have a really good friend in the industry. It was from Scotland. Couldn't understand a frickin' word the guy said. Literally, whenever he was on a panel at the Road Rally, I had to translate for everybody via Dublin. Okay, so there's a couple hours on the ground. Was it worth it? Did you like the Road Rally? Would you tell other people? Yes. Max out your credit card. Juno going for a stomach operation tomorrow. Wish you luck. Absolutely. We will say our prayers, send good vibes, and hopefully your surgeon knows what he or she is doing. Yeah. Keep us in the loop. We hope we see you back next week. All right. So that was great. Actually, that song had a lot of vibe to it. It'd be very easy to license that for a lot of stuff. Here's an example. The show Landman, which I thought the first season that was great. When you've got the Billy Bob Thornton character driving down the road after some stuff hit his fan, and he's having a really bad day, and the sun's going down, and he's just on one of those long Texas roads, like West Texas roads that seem endless. This could be playing. All right. I thought it was fun. I thought it was interesting. You guys did a really good job today. You nailed all of them. I don't think you blew it on any of them. Thank you, Juno. We love you too. Good luck tomorrow. Also, don't forget to tune in next week, because next week it's going to be a really good episode. I see so many of our members posting on our forum at forums.taxi, forums with an S, forums.taxi.com, that how many submissions did you make before you got your first forward? How many forwards did you get before you got your first deal offer? How many libraries are you in before you got your first placement? How much did you make on your first placement? All legitimate questions. I know people want to know. I mean, I guess it's good that they want to know. I know it's good that they want to know. But so many of those issues have absolutely no bearing on your success. So we're going to address all of this in next week's episode with Greg Carrozza, who's always a great guest. And the episode's titled, How Long Does It Take? Because that's what people want to know, even before they join Taxi. Okay, so I sign up. I give you guys $300. How long does it take before I get a record deal? How long does it take before I get a song in a major motion picture? We'll find out next week. So thank you for tuning in. My best to you all. Have a great week. See you next time on another exciting episode of Taxi TV Live. Bye-bye, you guys. Love that part. Keith LeBrant.